2-0 is 2-0. I don't care how ugly it was. Your Chiefs got a win, and we're going to tell you why it was so ugly. And here's the key. It's because the coaching staff didn't listen to us. We're going to tell you all about it. But bottom line is, you got a W. It was rough, but Chiefs take the lead. Ravens go 0-2. Chiefs 2-0. A lot of craziness here in this last couple. I, once again, Dan, have lost all of the chat. I don't know what's going on, but so you're going to catch us up there, folks. We're going to give you our breakdown. This is the post-game live. This is Dan Harms, the senior draft analyst here on RGR and on TDN now. You can find all of his work on TDN for the upcoming draft class. But today we are talking your Chiefs. I'm Ryan Tracy, the founder of Rogue Analytics and Performance Consulting. And you can find me over on Locked on Chiefs. We're going to go to that later after Matt Derrick joins us there. But today, this is just us. This is just gut reaction, our notes, our takeaways, and we will take a couple of your questions. Monday night is the actual Q&A, though, where we answer your questions all night long. So make sure that you're with us tomorrow at 7 Central. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of fun stuff here, Dan. But bottom line is, we told them to help Kingsley out. They didn't. We told them to run. They did. Okay. They're 2 for 2. We told them they had to get to Burrow at the very last second with a funky blitz from, by my count, 14 yards away by Chamari Connor. They were able to do that. They pretty much checked in on the game plan. They just didn't quite follow it, folks. Our game plans go up on Friday. If you missed that, we laid it all out there for you. What's problem number one, Dan?
I mean, number one is you can't turn the football over 3 times against any football team. Number one, you have to take care of the football. And it's burned into my head. The time is running out in the third quarter. It's 2nd and 14. They rush the play for no reason. Let it go into the fourth quarter. But here we are throwing a football you didn't have to when you could take the TV timeout and get the right play call for 2nd and 14. No, we're going to rush it. And then Mahomes throws a pick. Yes, it was an incredible attempt to make the pick. Shouldn't have ever happened. That play should have never happened. So that was frustrating. They just played down to the Bengals in this game, in my opinion. They played down to them. They have so many injuries on the defensive line, and they got bored. The running game was working. They kept going at it. 12 and 11 personnel runs were destroying, and they were fine. And then they were like, we need to throw the football. For what reason? Other than getting Mahomes yards. I don't know. All I understand is this should never have been close, and my wife is 100% correct. That was painful to watch. This team only beats themselves. And they still won the football game, guys. And they still won the football game.
They still won the football game. Mrs. Dan, your wisdom comes through across the interwebs, and we appreciate you. Here, folks, it's Oktoberfest time. Say hi to Odell's. I'm cracking this sumbitch right now.
Yeah, you should. So, yeah, we've got lots of stuff here. Summit, thank you for the 5. Can't guard Rice. Well, no. And the one times you commit pass interference because you shouldn't be there that early, but one of them gets called, not 2 of them. So that play was fantastic. Finally getting some deep shots to Rashee Rice, which we have needed for a very long time. So hopefully that continues. Thank you for the 5 there.
I'm going to take 5 seconds just for you Bengals fans. This is why they don't want to pay Jamar Chase. You little baby. I'm so sick and tired of that, dude. If you think you've somehow been assaulted by Trent McDuffie because he's been blanketing your ass all day long, that's your fault. That's not the ref's fault, and that certainly isn't anybody else's fault that isn't even on the field throwing your helmet at people. It's just ridiculous, and it tells you just how juvenile that team still is because their stars are still juvenile. It does not get you farther down the road. And this was close. This was mistake-laden. Mahomes actually threw 3 picks, got 1 called back. That's how poorly he played. And they're all underthrown by my eye. You tell me if you disagree. But for some reason, he seems to be trying to cushion them, lay them in there so that guys can run to them with like nice pillows. Like, Rashee Rice doesn't need that. Maybe you're worried about Worthy, but put the damn ball where it needs to go and stop trying to place it.
The first one was to Kelce, and I think that he thought that his eyes moved the linebacker, but it didn't. It didn't move him at all. So he's sitting over here looking at the right-hand side, expecting the linebacker to move. You can't expect anything. You cannot assume things are going to happen. So that was 100% on him. He thought he was going to have a clearer throw, and Davis Gaither just takes it away. The one to Worthy never should have taken place. It never should have happened. Never should have been thrown. I don't necessarily know if it was a deep shot. It was also an incredible one-handed catch. You get the hat off for that one. Cam Taylor-Britt, you talked and you walked for the most part, outside of getting your ass burnt by Rashee Rice that time. But I mean, when you play well, you play well. I'm going to tip my hat. That was a fantastic interception on a play that never should have happened. So you get to talk this week about how Xavier Worthy apparently only runs in a straight line, and you'll be able to take that home with the L along with it. So just I don't necessarily think he was trying to soften the blow. I think that he just thinks that the defenders aren't as fast as they are. Sometimes he's expecting
more separation, is what you're saying.
He's expecting more separation. Like the one down the sideline, he's again expecting more separation, but he's right there. Expectations. He's expecting Davis Gaither to not be on the under route there. And it is. And then the one on the over route to Watson that was taken off the board from a penalty, that was just never should have happened. Just don't throw the football to guys who are essentially bracketed. I know that he's not like bracketed, but the coverage, you have to place it perfectly to the sideline for that not to be intercepted. And that's such a small percentage throw. Why make it? Like, I know you can on your best. Today was not your best day. Wasn't your best day. Why attempt it?
Yeah, Patrick felt rushed to me all day long. Like pushing to Kelce, pushing downfield, pushing to get plays off when you don't necessarily have to. I think the big deal is that Patrick puts pressure on himself. This was not gameplay. This was not something else. It was him wanting to prove I can still do this. And you didn't have to. You're absolutely right, gentlemen. Sense. And I know there's a ton of questions in here, folks. We're going to get to all your super chats. Super chats get an answer no matter what. We're going to run through them all. If you want the gear, you can get this in the store right now. It helps us and keeps the channel going. We appreciate you, just like our members. For you new members that have been joining left and right, we very much appreciate you. You'll have my game notes tomorrow or Tuesday morning at the latest after I clean them up, because there's a lot of typos and there's a lot of cuss words in there. So I always got to clean it up. But this is what we told you on Friday that the coaching staff had to pay attention to. You couldn't leave Sua out, and I've gone to calling Kingsley Sua. That's what
good.
I'm calling.
I like it.
You can't leave him out on an island against Hendrickson. We told you that. We hoped that the staff would listen. They listened to several things that we mentioned, but that wasn't it. And it was too much too late. And I understand he looked a little frustrated on the sidelines, but I can understand you take him out to protect his confidence, right? Because he's just getting worked. And that's okay. He's a rookie. And Travis, I saw this just pop up, and you ask a good question here. Let me throw that up there too. You don't have to fix him. He's a rookie, and he just faced one of the best pass rushers in this league. You just got to help him out in the meantime. They didn't chip enough. They didn't give him they got 3 jumbo plays with somebody outside of his shoulder, like we mentioned. That wasn't enough.
Let's talk really quickly about how there was no problem in the first half for the most part with pressure. You want to know why? Because they were running the football and they were successful and they went back to it. There wasn't a ton of pressure problems because they were executing their game plan. And when the defense is giving up field goals and lots of yards, and tight ends, we're killing them all day long, like we said they would, all day long. There becomes a push comes to shove moment. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are great. They also get pressured. They're not invincible. They, much like teams get in their own head, like the Baltimore Ravens do with Patrick Mahomes on the opposite side, they get in their own heads. They think that they have to go and throw the football when other teams are executing, they're getting field goals, and they're not doing so, and they're turning the football over, and they're shooting themselves in the foot. They think that they have to go back to the pass, and they don't. This game was a dramatic reminder that even in 11 personnel in the first half of this football game, they were very successful and efficient running the football. It was like that first drive was 5 yards of play every single time, every time.
Right.
And then The pick comes, and they're like, "Oh, we have to come back. We have to overcome our own mistake." No,
Right.
you don't have to do that. Go back to the game plan, and then you can create play action passes. You create pockets for Patrick Mahomes, who was, again, almost not pressured in the first half of this football game. So
Yeah,
they have to just continue to do what they do well. But Kingsley specifically, the one play that he got beat for the sack in the second half, he had the chip help, but he opened. He'd been doing it all day long, and he opened it, even though you have chip help. Sometimes you don't always know you have chip help. And sometimes you don't always know.
Because it bashes into the inside.
Correct.
Oh, it's tough sometimes. On the day, 4.7 per carry for Pacheco. I was proud that they went back to Steele. Steele's fumble is not Steele's fault, in my opinion. That was a hell of a punch out. And he literally hit it perfectly to knock that out. And I'm glad that they saw that, because he still ended up, even though a couple of those were pretty full boxes he ran against, he ended up with 3.4. Obviously, Mahomes scrambles are going to be big. They were efficient enough to win this ball game just running the ball if you hadn't turned it over. That's what it came down to. Also, they were 1 for 8 on third down. 1 for 8. Ridiculous. Rashee Rice is your leading receiver yet again, and the broadcast even mentioned about how Mahomes said, depending on the matchup, he could do that every single week. So it's perfectly within the realm of possibility. We touched on Kingsley. We're going to run through. I'm going to try to dig some of these out real quick, Dan.
Yeah.
And then we can go back to and G, thank you for your question. Yeah, we know Mahomes struggled. We're not going to call it too bad, but yeah, he needs to pick it up. Jonathan, why did they leave him alone so much? That's the big question. Wanted to see how he did, but again, when they weren't pinned their ears back because you were running the ball, he didn't have as much the full gamut of the Henderson experience, is what I will call it. When they got predictable, it made Kingsley's life hard. And I think you understand, even with that, why he's still ahead of Lonnie Morris.
Yeah, I think the big problem here is that he's having to also learn on the fly. The big knock against him coming out was that he opens up too much to the side in pass protection. He's not patient enough with keep his shoulders square. And that's like, he flashes the ability to be able to stab with one hand and then get his shoulders turned if they're going to get to the edge. But he opens up so prematurely to the outside that he also leaves himself open for inside counters. That's the big problem here. And back-to-back weeks, we've seen speed off the edge be hurtful for him specifically. So there's a ton of upside, but this was the big thing coming out, and teams are exploiting it because he's a rookie and he's young still. He's still learning. So we have to take a little bit with, yes, he had a bad game. He got benched for good reason. But I think we can't just continue to throw on him. If he continues to play like this in like December, okay, we can have a discussion. That's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the starting point, not the end point.
Yeah.
So Cherry, I wouldn't call him trash. I will defend him. He is a rookie in his second ball game. So, and he's displaying the thing we knew was going to be something he had to work on. This isn't like he's gone backwards in some area of his game. We knew this was going to be an issue, and it will continue to be until he continues to develop. He will get there. So I do think a little bit of boost to the defense could help. We'll get to that here in a second, but want to point out other couple of Kingsley comments here. Brandon, thank you. Why weren't they giving him any help? Again, they didn't need it early, and when they did, I didn't feel it was cohesive enough. They didn't have a plan. It was, hey, help him out. Somebody do something, and it didn't feel like it was planned out well enough, given where Hendrickson was in his pass rush game plan for the day. So I felt that they fell behind that all the way around. Did you see anything different?
Not necessarily. It was tough for me to like fully evaluate him again, because I do believe both halves really did a good job of showcasing how you can protect a young tackle, and then the other half showed how you can dramatically alter a state of mind. And I think at the end of that second half, you could tell that he's like, I don't know what to do. Like at this point, the two plays in a row, he was just like, I don't know. But at the end of the day, I still think that Andy Reid is going to be able to help him. Andy Heck and him have some work to do. It's very obvious, but I think that they just needed. Andy likes to do this with all of his players. Like they've had new tackles consistently, right, at left tackle for the last couple of years. And he will just leave them out there. It's kind of a staple. And they do bring in some formations that should alter the route, the path that the defensive end takes. Doesn't always do that. I think that's mostly because they know that, okay, fine, he's not going to really touch me. Like they pretty much know it's not coming. So more than anything, it was just self-inflicted wounds that hurt this team today.
Yeah. As far as linebacker coverage, Brandon, you're absolutely right. This is a calculated decision, though, on the part of Spags and the front office as well. They're going to give up yards to tight ends because they don't want to give up yards to deep receivers. They don't want to give up 40-yard plays. So they're going to let that go. And quite frankly, kudos to the Bengals for taking advantage of it because they had the right game plan. That is how you should attack this team. Now, I do think Hicks getting on the field later in the ball game is going to start to change that. I don't think they meant for him to be on the field. I think it was due to Reed's hand that he got on there originally, but he made a play, the first play. He was out there. He didn't look lost. So I think we're going to start to see that come around, and they'll be able to adjust here. And Doug had the same thoughts about the linebacker core, but you actually say it right here. A little suspect, but they did get the win. And in the end, they were able to do enough. That last run fit that Trent came screaming down really was a momentum changer, in my opinion. So
yeah,
you had some bad plays. You also got some good plays that were able to help you overall. And then Quentin, thank you. And thank you guys all for your super chat.
Thank you guys. Please. Yes. Thank you.
It is a little bit too early. It's not so much a panic button. And I think Girk, you had a comment on here too. It all depends on the player. And I don't know Kingsley well enough to be like, hey, maybe he's just like, okay, right? Maybe, all my Polynesian friends are pretty good with the flow until you really piss them off. So maybe he was like, okay, I'll take a breather. Give me a break, okay? But if not, then you have to judge that by the player, in my opinion.
So one thing that I'm going to come back to is that if nothing changes, nothing changes. You got pulled. You were bad enough to be pulled, okay? So if some players require a little bit of, hey, guess what? You're costing us the football game. Go ahead and sit down. Some of them you need a little bit. We're going to find out more about him as he responds to this football game, not as a result of this football game. Wait to see how he responds.
Well said. Well said. I like the way you put that. Chiefs fan, nice to see you. Knicks fan. Sorry, Chiefs, Knicks fan. I always put that together. Yeah, it definitely felt like he was pushing a little too hard. But, it is Patrick. You live by the sword, you die by the sword with him, and I think we're all used to that. The fact that they were able to pull these two games out, I'm just going to roll with it. And Miss Caroline, nice to see you, as always. I know a lot of bad things happened in this game, but Leo Chenal, offense and D. My halfback, McDuffie, locked down. Leo, for me, the fullback advocate, to see Leo make tackles, get pressures, nearly get a PBU, come in and get in a 4-point stance as a fullback.
So
good. There are very few games that maybe could have gone more my way for seeing what I want to see.
It was amazing. I think Leo Chenal, again, I do believe he's ascending to be one of the best chess pieces in all of football. I think that he's there right now. I think that we have seen he's a different kind of playmaker, and it would have been great to see him involved in a little bit more offensive plays. But also, I'm going to say this, the fact that he had to be used in offense as a trick, as Wanya Morris was as well in the red zone, is a problem. It's a problem.
Yep.
If you cannot, against a defensive line that is so suspect and injured as the Cincinnati Bengals, get down in your stance and blow them off the football on the 1-yard line for a touchdown, we got to have a conversation.
When the difference between last year's short yardage situations and this year's short yardage situations is the back, that's an issue. Because the blocking is still there. He just takes more advantage of it and survives contact. That's the only difference, because there's no more push. I don't see Creed getting 2 yards off the ball with somebody over his nose. So, yeah, he still got to work on it.
And I agree, Thunderius. How about them Chiefs anyway? Because it's still 2-0, baby. It looks the same on the screen, right? It looks the same on the screen. And just, I know it's Chanel. I've been doing it for a long time, and there was like a month or so in there where I knew it was Chanel. I knew it was. And then I did this video last week where I talked about him a ton. And I remember I'm like, I said Chanel the entire time. And I feel awful. I feel terrible. So, Leo, my apologies for mispronouncing your last name for that entire video and then just doing it again.
Well, for Major Chip, at least I'm not saying channel. I could be doing something like that. I've done worse. You guys know that. Minotaur, another W. Take the check mark. Thank you, sir, as always. And we see you giving people free memberships. Everybody give Minotaur a hand.
Let's go.
We appreciate you. He's handing things out. You get the extras here in the chat with those free memberships. You can upgrade to the rookie status for the extra videos and the game notes and all that kind of stuff. And DC, that might be a good way to start, for a freshman draft analyst. We're happy to have you. So let us know what you see out there, buddy. Just don't watch the CU-CSU game. It's ugly. Tactics. Nice to see you, pal. Thank you for your super chat. We're in trouble. Our Ravens win means little since the Raiders proved they're nothing. And now we have a close game with the T. Higgins-less Bengals. Yes, that's fair, but we got to remember, every season they start slow. Every season they got to get it together by the bye or mid-season, right? They're in the same situation. They're just getting W's this time. So right now they're not hurting themselves like they have in the last couple of seasons when they ended up being champions. So you got a good point, Tactic. I don't think it's super dire yet, though.
Yeah, I'm not going to overreact to a ton of stuff in September. I just think that the Chiefs themselves will have conversations about some of the struggles that they've had over the last 2 games. Like, that's what this comes down to. I know that a lot of it can be negative, and we're being entertaining at the same time with this. Overall, I'm not concerned about the trajectory of the team. Again, we have seen them win Super Bowls now back-to-back seasons with worse teams with worse teams and worse offensive play and worse offensive line play. So we can be a little dramatic and talk about how, we're worried about some things here. But at the end of the day, when we take all that away, you have to remember that I'm not super worried about what's going to happen here.
I'll be the worrier. It's fine. Andrew, are we concerned about the tight end coverage? A little bit. Win is win, but wow, sucks that Brown is done. Can still see that we have a way to go with that. And he may return towards the end of the season. It's not going to have the impact we once hoped. That's for certain. But there's still a chance for some impact there. Let's see what happens, Andrew. The tight end stuff is going to be a challenge, although there are not many teams that are going to have a whole lot better groups of tight ends than that Bengals team. So take that part of it. And switching gears to the pass rush side, DC's talking about Reddick. I know there are several people talking about him today. I saw a good push, but I agree there wasn't a whole lot from the outside. For some unknown reason, my guy Cam Thomas was inactive. He played the entire preseason, had his best preseason. I think he had 6 sacks. I don't know what the holdup is. It's got to be the transition to the defense is the only thing I can come up with. And I'm hoping he can give a lift. But otherwise, I'd consider Reddick. The contract is the question. What do you think?
Yeah, it's just the contract. It's the money. And the fact that they're going to be bringing back Charles Omenihu at some point this season. And how is that going to work? Like, they have George. They have Mike Dana, who, again, they paid. They made a good deal, too. They have George. They have Omenihu's coming back, and Chris Jones kicks out to the edge too. They have a lot of stuff. They can't just willy-nilly bring in guys, specifically guys who have not been in their training camps, also haven't played a snap of football this entire season. And I don't think adding Reddick right now is going to change any of that. If you add him, I would hope he doesn't play for a month, to be very honest with you. Doesn't play for a month. It would need to get ready.
And you got to remember, he's a 3-4 outside linebacker. He's not like a full defensive end the way the Chiefs like to use them. So the fit isn't 100% there either. But the problem is you got to give trade compensation, then you got to pay the guy. I don't think either of those things are going to work out for Brett Veach and what he likes to do is the problem. Andrew, I'll take the W, but offense didn't execute well. Agree. Outside of the turnovers and left tackle, what else was off? I thought the defense came up big late, and I agree with you there. I don't think their game plan was great. They should have expected too high safety most of the day. It didn't look like they had that scoped out. The quick game was there. They ran some concepts that got guys underneath the outside receivers, knowing that cover 2 is most likely their base, but it just didn't feel like they really dialed it up.
How many big plays do they have taken away by penalty today? 4?
True.
So while I think that they would have been able to generate more offense in this game, every time they got a big play going outside of the Rashid touchdown, it was called back because of a penalty. So, I mean, they couldn't get out of their own way. We say it. The Chiefs are the only team that can beat them. They beat themselves. At this point in this dynasty, that's what it comes down to. If they don't stand in their own way, they win every football game they play. It comes down to the wire like this because, again, 3 turnovers, a massive amount of penalties in the second half of this football game, and in key moments and situations. So I think that we can just hope that they find a way to get out of their own way, because outside of some timing issues and kind of just going away from the run game, I don't think it was all that bad. Like, again, they had some big plays that were just taken off the board.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's difficult because of the timing in those. What was it? 4 for 44 yards was the actual penalty total. But
It just,
all
timely.
Worst moments. Yeah, it's just how and when it happens. That's what we think, Andrew. What's up, everyone? Cheers for 2-0. Maybe ugly, but still 2-0. Dirty, I appreciate you because you bring the sunshine back, and I like that.
Appreciate it.
Cheers to you, buddy. Caroline said, highlight play. Chase throwing his helmet. Yeah, I mean, I was waiting for him to say one more thing before Burrow got a hold of him to get his butt ejected. I was ready for that. I was clapping here at home, folks. So this is why we don't do live reaction, because the stuff that I say and do is not fit for streaming. And Dirty, he did come back in. I saw him move around. I don't know if that he came back in and ran, but I thought he came back in for a play. Hopefully he's going to be all right. We'll get an update from Andy Reid, and we'll break that down on Locked On Chiefs when we get
Andy said that
locker room.
Being evaluated for an ankle injury.
Okay. That looked about right. But again,
I'm just seeing this on Twitter. He's on the Chiefs Twitter page as a video, walking near the sideline and talking about the record. So something tells me he's probably going to be okay.
He's all right. Well, this goes back to what we talked about earlier in the week. That it's nice now to have a true committee that could do similar things, because Steele, obviously the fumble's a bad play. He's got to be more prepared for that. It was a hell of a play by the defender, but he's still got to be more prepared for it. But he looked good. He made more yardage. He looked like an actual guy that could step in and help against it. Doesn't have to do it all. P. Ryan gave some good snaps as well. But it tells you that they are more, I think, susceptible and sustainable should they have an injury at the position and not have to change their whole game plan, because it was pretty heavy. 19 carries today for Pacheco. That's significant, and I'd love to see it.
I think that we just would have liked to see a little bit more. I know that Andy Reid doesn't want to do that with Patrick Mahomes, and I know that they have a bunch of weapons, but sometimes learn from the Bengals. Learn from the Bengals. They took what the Chiefs gave them all day long, and sometimes the Chiefs said, no, we want what you're taking away from us. That was the big difference on offense today, in my opinion.
Yeah, they were smart until they weren't smart. It is what it is. Daryl, thank you. Can we have one easy game against Cincy? I don't think so, buddy. I just don't think so. Tell me something.
I will never, ever predict the score like I predicted it this week again. Ever for the Chiefs and Bengals. Never again. It's never going to happen, guys. As much as I thought this was going to be a blowout, no, it wasn't even close. So it's never happening again. I'm writing it down.
Put it up here. You got it. Something good is, Daryl, is that they're 2-0 despite looking like trash at times today. They were able to get it done. And that tells you again that they're farther down their road. This 53 is farther down its road than last year's 53 was at this point. And that's a positive sign. Times X, not the Mahomes throw to Rice for a TD, but in my opinion, horrible Mahomes game. What do y'all think? I agree with you. I mean, I wasn't going to use the word horrible, but we've told you, like, definitely not his optimal, and we do recognize that. Yeah. Girk, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. Love the Chanel Connor contribution. Yeah, like Connor was quiet most of the day, and then bam, made a couple of those, and he didn't try to knock anyone out, so I'm glad. Wiley seems like his transition's been a little bit more difficult than maybe we understood. I mean, bobbling that one again today, like that just looks like a nerves thing to me. I think he'll get there.
I'm not sure. I know everyone was really excited about Jared Wiley. I don't think he knows what's going on. He looks slow. He looks disconnected from the offense. It looks like he is always thinking. And you can't play football like that, you guys. That's what happens to Sky Moore when you're always thinking. You never make in place. So I'm far more worried about him specifically for this year. So it wouldn't shock me to see Peyton Hendershot, who again was active today playing special teams, if he started to get some more reps instead of Jared Wiley.
Okay. Yeah, you got to roll with what you got. So make it work. Evgeny, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. Hope you're doing well. Doug, I think we missed Gay and Sneed and Smith just a little bit. Gay in particular, yes. Joshua Williams did not look good today. The only notes I have about him are negative. I have them in columns now, so I can tally it up real quick. There was no pluses. There were only minuses for Josh Williams today. But yeah, other than that, I thought McDuffie was everything he's supposed to be. I think he is the next Sneed. He is that good. So instead of having a 1 and a 1B, now you just got a 1.
Let's talk about Jalen Watson real quick. Let's talk about Jalen Watson, who looks legitimately like a CB2. Legitimately. Like we were worried coming into the season. No, it's Jalen Watson, who looks legitimately good. And he is, again, one of my keys to this game. I know it didn't show up a ton for that because the offense decided this was going to be a rough one for him, but he was excellent. Again, they actively targeted non-Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson players. That's who they targeted, and that's who they ended up beating the defense with. And Josh Williams, with Najee Johnson getting some snaps today and looking pretty decent, days are numbered, in my opinion.
Najee got a little bit beat up too. I hope that he in particular, because he's still probably got a nagging thing on the hamstring, right? I hope that doesn't shake his confidence, because I thought he did some good things too. I want to see that.
It's his first real game experience.
I agree.
It's his first.
Right.
He hasn't played an NFL game before. Like, this is his first time. So that's why I'm like, yeah, for sure.
And kudos for you for your opposition scouting, because Cheifs was everything you had thought he would be. Moves better. He's craftier than I had thought. So he's better. He's better in the little details than I saw in his college film. So 1 year in the league has helped him immensely. So kudos to you and to him. Girk, why was the defense so leaky? Love the content. Thanks, buddy. And we appreciate you being here and supporting us. Girk is also one of our members as well as Super Chatter. Thanks, buddy. It's Steve Spagnuolo. It's all about knowing where you are, when you are, and this is week 2. Week 12, they'll be solid. Until then, it's going to be, hey, where are we piecing this all together, right? Like, you saw active conversations out there because there was confusion about assignment. That was evident multiple times out there. That's just part of the process.
Absolutely. I'm with you.
Let's see. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate you, buddy. Good to see you as well. A crazy game. Do you think Lamar is still crying? Jamar, sorry, not Lamar.
Jamar. I mean,
Lamar takes
Lamar
it like a man.
Maybe Lamar too. I don't know. Oh, they lost their 0-2, so maybe they are. It was rough.
Damn, sorry.
I'm sure he's going to say something this week. Absolutely. I'm sure he will.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I'm here for the fine. This will be great. Not one more inch. I like it. Great name. Should we be concerned about Kelce? He seems slow to me. Where are you on Kelce?
I think Travis Kelce is getting double on every single play. Every single play. But at the end of the day, a little bit slower, guys. He's 34, coming off a season where he had 2 injuries on the same leg. Is he going to be the same person? No. But again, I think later in the season, we're going to see him be better. We're going to see the offense be more fluid. And the big thing, again, is that this is going to bring open space to the middle of the field. And if it's not going to be for him because he's got too much defensive gravity at this point, we can always count on the Chargers letting him have a really big game. So there's that.
There's always a get right in there. It's built into the schedule every single year, you guys. I love that. Thanks, Not One More Inch. And thank you, Daryl, again. It seems like we're having trouble defending tight ends. Yes, absolutely. And that ties into what others were asking about this. And thank you, Daryl, for your support. Another one of our members. You guys make the world go round around here, so we appreciate you. Did they make a mistake? Thankful, Faithful, for not signing Gay. We told you at the time they're going to miss his athleticism, especially because he got a 1-year deal for not much money.
No.
They could have had him, and I think now they probably regret it a little bit. Now, that said, if you wanted to make Willie Gay a replacement player and start Trank and Bolton with Chanel, I could have lived with that too. But as a third down player at the linebacker level, Willie Gay has wheels that nobody else on this team has. There is no other way to say it.
Yeah, it's true. And we were really scratching our heads about why they didn't bring it back for that money. Made no sense. Again, we would have brought back Sir Binky. Colin Saunders would have been a guy we brought back for the contract that the Saints gave him. So,
good Lord, you're kidding.
Some of the decisions that get made, you think, the Chiefs are trying to get out in front of some contracts, right? I don't think they expected Willie Gay's market to be as low as it was. And that might have been a problem. Or there's something behind the scenes we don't know. Maybe they weren't contacting with the agent. We don't know. Because if the Chiefs knew that his market wasn't very big, I think they would have brought him back unless there was something else going on. So
I'm with you. And thank you, Faithful. Appreciate you.
Thank you,
FLDB.
Faithful.
Frank is one of our moderators. Everybody give him a hand, will you? He keeps things running around here. We appreciate you. And he is our guru over on the Discord. You guys need to get over there. When you become members at the rookie level involved, you get in there for free. Not a problem. It's all RGR members. It's not open to the public. So it's just the core Rogue Nation. We appreciate you guys. Do you think the Bengals ran the defense like it was at the end of the season? They seems they went with really complicated looks. Yeah, I mean, Lou's Lou, and he has a lot of players back. The guy who got the penalty at the end, I think he's the only rookie that played on the defense. So I think that tells you, like, hey, I can just pick up what was working for me last time, right? And he did confuse Patrick. I don't know if the confusion was why those underthrows were there, but it was a factor in my opinion.
I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to go back and watch to see how much they were changing the picture and things like that. But I personally just felt it was Patrick forcing things. I'm not sure that the Bengals confused him or if they just took things away that he wasn't expecting them to take away. That's more of how it read specifically in the second half, and also him trying to do too much. Again, in my opinion, we'll find out more when I get, to watch the game tomorrow.
Hayes there. I'm going to boot some spammers in here. Is there anything that we didn't get to super chat wise or anything that was early? That maybe
I don't think so. I think we've gotten most of the super chats.
Okay.
Actually, we should have gotten all of them. If you guys, again, if we missed a super chat, let us know and I'll try to go back and find it. Okay. But I think we've been pretty caught up and we want to make sure everyone gets their money's worth, especially if you're going to be supporting the channel. That's just great that you guys do that. And so thank you, all of the super chatters out there. You guys, fantastic. We appreciate you so much.
Absolutely. Couldn't do it without you guys. Axolotl. That's what I like to say. Turnovers were the key for the Bengals staying in the game. Dan's 100% right in his assessment. This victory is so sweet either way. It absolutely is. When multiple guys, when your two stars are throwing their helmets, it makes me feel good inside. I know that's kind of rude, but it does.
I wouldn't say I was 100% right because I don't think anyone can ever be 100% right on anything, but I appreciate the sentiment and I'm going to look back at the game and see what I missed. And we'll hopefully come back to a Wednesday film review where we talk about some of the things that I did miss and how they can get better. The thing about this here is Jamar Chase hates the Chiefs so physically much. He hates them so much. One, he refuses to acknowledge Patrick Mahomes' existence, which is great. But because he thought that Trent McDuffie brought him down illegally, which he didn't, and he got so mad about it that he had to not only yell at the referee, but then when Joe Burrow comes and says, hey, don't get a flag, he has to swear, because I'm sure he swore, otherwise that penalty is not getting thrown. You have to take some, like, he hates the Chiefs. He can't stand losing to this team. Like, you have to be like, that's kind of awesome, right? Like,
right? It's the little things that get you through the day at the end. Donnie's making a prediction, and thank you for the support, brother. Bucks versus Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Hey, I could see it. Mike Evans flourish for the end of his career. Baker like pulling out all the stops. I grab Baker in every fantasy league I have because I think the dude just is on his last legs as well. It was strange. I
don't think he's on his last legs. I think that he's just in a great position for him with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Okay. But when that runs out, okay.
Oof. Yeah. Oof. Where's the Rice seam route? Scott, that'll come back on a team that wants to play single high. When they're in too high coverage, they're standing right at the seams and they have the ability to drop guys in and out, especially their linebackers are pretty athletic. So you don't have as much gap over them and in front of the safety coverage if you really wanted to squeeze it. So you'll see that when you get a different defensive look. Did I miss anything, Dan?
I don't think so. You really can't do a seam against a team that wants to play too high and that's crashing down on everything. It's not really working for you.
Makes your life hard. P. Water, Thank you, buddy. Another member question. Thank you, Bengals. Took a mistake to win. Winning when you had to play bad has to be a good sign. Very good. And my heart will appreciate a B+ game on occasion. You and me both, buddy. It'd make these few hours post game a whole lot.
I do think it's generous, but I do think a B+ is generous. But we'll agree to disagree on that one. There, appreciate it.
No, he's saying he would appreciate one if he could get a B+ game because we ain't seen one. I completely agree with that one. Donnie, again, thanks, buddy. I'd like to make the observation that we need to use more Chamari Connor on blitzes. I think we need to also more Juju. Maybe I'm wrong there. No, Juju, like, he was crafty today. He was the veteran player today that maybe doesn't have the legs that he used to, but he still had an impact on the game. He and Kelce on that tunnel screen, I mean, that's how you teach it. That's how it should look. And that's a big plus. And kudos to Connor. By my count, again, that was a 14-yard that he had to go to get to Burrow. He couldn't have done that without his teammates in the backfield, though, because you have to have solid coverage to keep the ball in Burrow's hand for him to do that. So
can we talk about Spags for really quick? This play, he had to trust his guys to lock down for over 3 seconds. He had to say, we're just going to shut them down because Burrow's going to look to the left. I'm going to send a blitz from the right that he's never going to see, and we're going to shut them down on 3rd down to get a sack. Can we just say, hey, Spags, please? When it mattered most, he said, I got this, guys. Don't worry.
You got to believe in Spags because whatever he believes in works. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but mad scientist. I love that guy. Oh, man. Thank you, Donnie. We appreciate you. Faithful's back again. Thank you. What's the problem on offense? Is it the red zone? It's part of it. It's I think also, if they would have, in my opinion, I think it's just a natural kind of, we're just trying to get through these games. We're really going to care when we get to the playoffs. We're just stacking W's. We'll do as little as possible to win. And they're proving it this season, as absolutely little as possible to get a W.
I can't take credit for this analogy, but I'm going to use it. For all of us that remember the Tim Duncan and Parker Spurs, I forget his first name for whatever reason. I can't think of his name. Yeah, the point guard.
You mean the Admiral
that he played with. No, the point guard that he played with.
Beyond my time.
Yeah. When they were in their dynasty, this is what they did. They said, fine, we're getting older. We're just going to kind of figure some things out. Tony Parker. That's right. Ocean. Caroline. Thank you. Tony Parker. at the end of the season, when it was time to play for the championship, they said, hey, let me roll up our sleeves here. We're just going to get going. And that's what the Chiefs are going to do. And they're 2-0 to start the season.
Hey, I'll take it. If that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. Sorry, everybody seems to know Tony Parker but me. I gave up on the NBA somewhere between the Admiral and him, evidently. So, because I like defense, that's the way it is. Wheelchair, Chuck, thank you, appreciate you. If you guys would like and sub, hit the bell too. It does help because sometimes we're a little late. You know, you never know what's going to happen. And you can also get all the gear and everything down the links below. Check out Autograph. Check out BetUS. Check out. Oh, we got some new ones for you. Green Gridiron. Where's my mini?
Where is it?
You guys got to check these things out. These things are awesome. They got the Mahomes shield on it in a mini. If you like collectibles, check out Green Gridiron. All those links are down below. And we're cooking on something new for you coming up soon.
Yeah, we are.
Hopefully we'll have a new partner here very quickly for you. Let's see. I wanted to say Matrix, but that's just my habit. So I'm not going to say that correct, Matt. Thanks for the support, buddy. Did Pop prove that he's a bell cow back? Red zone offense still not inspired. WW, though. Predictions for the next 3 games. Pops wants to be a bell cow. That ankle twist at the bottom is why I'm worried about it, though. Because he runs so damn hard.
Mm-hmm. I think we're at the point now with Pop where he's gonna have something every year. He's going to, like, he's just gonna have an injury, whatever it is. And that's why you need a good rotation. So when he's healthy, when he's out there, he's gonna get the majority of the snaps, the majority of the reps, which he's earned to this point. But I don't think he's going to be getting a huge contract. Let's talk about that really quick. I think that if they want to bring him back on a team-friendly deal and he wants to do that, sure. But they want to have a good rotation. The offensive line just doesn't get off the ball and hit people in the red zone. They just don't do it. They get pushed back. That happened repeatedly. So it's a will and a want to sort of thing. And for whatever reason, they don't.
I got nothing. Because as much as they dedicated to the run, you're right. Like, they still have to go that next step and be able to actually force their will instead of being a more athletic and more disciplined team like I saw today. As far as the next 3 games, Matt, and if you know how to pronounce that, Dan, go ahead. Atlanta Falcons, W.
Yeah, I don't know.
Los Angeles Chargers, W, but it's going to hurt because they're going to grind on you guys. And New Orleans Saints might be the sneaky one. I'll say it's still a W, but it might sneak up on them because they don't have an answer for Alvin Kamara. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, no, they don't.
So it might be a little sticky. We'll see what happens. And you had another one. Appreciate you, buddy. 43
Thank you.
months. Brother, you're gonna hit 4 years by the end of the season. And we appreciate you. We honestly do this for you guys that want to be here to enjoy the game from a different level. We couldn't do it without you. And you core members that have been here that long, that's why we do it. Also a big win over Cincy, and we won their Super Bowl. I like the way you put that. I should put that on a shirt. Hey, Cincy, we won your Super Bowl. Hope you enjoyed that. Live, you guys, was about Washington, but was our offensive struggles because of the LT or just because Mahomes was having a bad game. Also, what is up with the defense? Thank you, PK. Yes, and meh. Defense is like you just cracked the eggs into the pan, and the whites aren't even set up yet, and you're just trying to get the eggs so you can flip them over. Like, it's just super raw right now.
It's frustrating. I get it, and I wish the bye week was later. I really do. But Spags, This is a consistent thing, guys. That's why I'm trying not to harp on the defense as much this time around, because we know this is what they do. They want to figure some things out. Spags will try different things. I want you to take away how they played in the key moments in this football game. Yes, they got help from Jamar Chase. They did. That's fine. But that sack that they got was Spagnuolo saying, okay, I'm not going to try something new. I'm going to try something I know is going to work. And it worked. beautifully, I might add.
Sometimes there's those old tricks at the bottom of the bag because that's exactly what they are. They always work. Good to have those. Thank you, PK. Leo, thank you. Here, take this game, Mahomes. No. We insist. Bengals. You keep that for yourself. Okay, I like that.
My wife
You should do the memes. I want to see those. Yeah, that's awesome. I don't understand how long they want our DBs to cover for it. At times, it seems too long. You're not wrong, Knicks fan. And thank you for the year and a half. And I know you've been a member longer than that. Sometimes when you get a gap, it forgets. It comes down to what Spags wants to do, that he trusts his guys in. And I think guys elevate themselves when he challenges them to do something like that. Like, hey, if y'all play like crap and we just have to go blitz the hell out of them, good. You guys are going to cover and you're going to go crush. And guys live up to that challenge sometimes.
Sorry. I was going to be providing an update on Isaiah Pacheco, who left the stadium on crutches and in a walking boot. So that probably just means they don't want him screwing anything up before the tests on Monday. I would imagine it's precautionary, but just so everybody knows.
We will find out. I will have more from Matt here in a little bit, you guys, on Locked On Chiefs. So make sure you join us over there as well. And thank you, Knicks fan, as always. Handeman, thank you, buddy. How do we fix the whole ref whining problem? Time to unplug Twitter. Yes, that's probably part of it. CTB got away with clear DPI. Oh, yeah, Taylor Britt, right? And I like Taylor Britt. He's one of the guys that I thought was underrated when he was drafted. If he would just shut his mouth, I'd still like him. But, it is what it is.
He talks, he walks. I mean, I'm good with it. Like, I'm fine.
Yeah, that's fair. But you're right. Like, they just got to stop whining him. You just got to be able to man up. If you get beat, you get beat. But put it all out there. I was at the game. Good job, Mike.
There you go,
you had
Mike.
a good time. Travel from Oregon. I hope that it was everything that you had hoped for. It wasn't too hot. I hope that smell that you had from the tailgate before the game, I hope that sticks with your brain for a very, very long time. Can't get that anywhere else in this country.
I can already smell. I can smell it still.
Get that. Right. It's an instant memory, right? It's in here. Thank you, Mike, and congratulations. If you have any shots from the game you want to share with us, hit me on Twitter, and I'll try to put them here on the show maybe tomorrow. Callie, good to see you again, buddy. If this was Donovan Smith at 816-555-798 something, how close are you to pressing that last digit? And why no Hardman snaps so far besides the special teams? That's a good question. I would have, in my personal view, if you're not going to have Hollywood, I would have Hardman on there at least sometimes with Xavier to run just what the Bengals did. The Bengals did one thing that I really like, and that's when you stack receivers to get your releases that you can choose where you go, not the defense. And I think they should be doing that with both Hardman and Worthy together. Because if they choose then to just mildly separate and go deep, one of them will always be open because nobody can cover them both.
I think it's
that's
week
a great
2.
Question.
I think it's week 2. That's why we haven't really seen it. But I would have already had Donovan Smith in camp. Personally, I would have done it already.
Yeah. You've been saying that since camp. Like you were like the first one on it. I'm not worried about Suamataia. Kingsley's
I'm not either.
But can't hurt to have a veteran back there. Good for Wanye for catching a pass, but you also saw why he's behind Kingsley. So, Callie, good to see you, buddy. I don't believe Butker's politics, but I do believe in his leg. Fair enough. You don't have to do either.
Well,
the leg's real, though, so roll with it. Enjoy it while you got it. Button still works. Yes, appreciate you, buddy. That super chat is still there for you and you and you and you and you. And Daryl takes advantage of it, and we appreciate you, Daryl. Another one of our longtime members. Joe, nice to see you back, buddy. Thank you for the support. Tracks for everything. Oh, thanks for everything you guys do. Keep up the good work. We definitely will, especially
Thank you,
if
Joe.
you're around to watch it, Joe. We appreciate you. Couldn't do it without you guys. Perry, Reed said Pop getting some test on ankle. Yep. And Dan has that breaking news as well. And we will run it down more for you here coming up later, which it looks like the pressers are getting close to the end. So I'm going to need to run here soon. So if you would like and sub, that would help. Go get on Twitter, follow In Harm's Way 19 and Ryan Tracy NFL, and go to TDN and see Dan's work over there. You can see his video work too.
Lots
there
of it.
is it TDN or the Draft Network here on
it's
YouTube?
The Draft Network. You have to put in the entire thing.
Gotcha. But you can see Dan's college work there as well. And don't worry, he's still going to be doing college with me here as we always do. In fact, this will probably give us a leg up, right? So we'll probably be ahead of the game next year. You hope anyway. You just got to explain things to me because there's still guys like Wegman that people want to tell me I should watch, and I'm like, why would I waste my time? Okay. Anyway, that's a whole different topic we'll cover later. We got bailed out by Flag after 15 through an interception. Absolutely will agree on an ill-advised pass and one down the sideline, only to make the same ill-advised throw to the same player 2 plays later and have it picked. I was in shock. Honestly, like I said, sometimes he just gets in a rut and he's got something he wants to prove and he goes for it. It does bite him from time to time. I agree. That's the kind of thing that the decision-making just has to be cleaned up a little bit. And obviously, if you're going to do it, put it out there. We know you have more arm than you showed today. Yeah. Don't try to make it perfect. Throw it out there and let him run under it. That's his job. Trust in the kid's going to do it. He's probably, since Tyreek, the best over-the-shoulder tracker you've ever had on this roster since Tyreek. So just let him do it. Will,
agreed. Appreciate you, Will.
Dan, what do you think of this one? Oh,
all right. That's what I think. I think that's great.
2.
I think it's a fantastic job.
I know. Okay, there we go. I feel better, Daryl. Thank you, buddy. Caroline, if you guys would all hit the like, we would all appreciate it. And we appreciate you, Caroline, as always. Daniel, hey, Ryan, got to say, the tackles will struggle when you have a very good defense they go against. But by the end of the year, it'll be different. With Worthy, he's a rookie and he'll have growing pains. Absolutely. I don't think I saw Worthy make any mistakes today, though. I don't think I would put anything on him in terms of negative outcomes. Would you? I wouldn't either. Again, we're going to have to look at the All-22 and see what was going on, what they were doing for him. And that's something that I'm interested in because I would say outside of a couple of things, they didn't involve him enough. And I want to know why. Yeah, agreed. I honestly, I think they're just saving. They're playing the long game. They want to be able to double down on plays that they have in for him in the playoffs. I'm convinced of that. And sometimes it's cutting off your nose to spite your face. You know, you can cost yourself some things. This time they're getting lucky. Defensive player of the game, Connor or Jamar Chase? Brent, I like the way that you think. I'm going to stay on our side, though, and go with Connor, though. I will also say kudos to Mike Dana because he showed up multiple times when there had to be somebody else do something, and he was there, and I appreciate him for that. Okay. Lucky Croc, I'm glad you're here. Dan's going to give you the lowdown because I think I've said it a couple of times. That the last comment makes me nervous, but do we worry about Kingsley? Okay. Knowing we went up against a monster today. I also like the nickname Carson Steele, your girlfriend. Is that aimed at me or is that just in general? I got to ask.
I don't know. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll find out, I guess. What we're going to do is I'm going to do a pretty extensive film side to Kingsley this week, and we're going to include it on Wednesday. We're probably going to take a look at the offense pretty in depth. I know everyone wants to talk about the defense, but I'm not going to take the defense too seriously until after the bye. So I'm going to focus on the offense for this week. And then if there's something crazy that happened with the defense, because let's be honest, they were just playing back off and let them throw in or take what's there. It was bend, don't break. Like that's what this was. And so, okay, fine. So we'll look at Kingsley, and I'm interested to see. But the Carson Steele, your girlfriend, I think it's just a nickname, right? That's what he said. Like his name is Carson Steele, but you just put your girlfriend at the end because he's got the aura.
The aura. Oh, I like the aura. I'm with you there. Okay, the vibe thing. I'm getting it. My kids are teaching me. Preachers, appreciate you and thank you for 41 months, 3.5 years.
Appreciate you.
Keep us driving on, buddy. Very much appreciated. And that's a good looking avatar you got there, pal. Why are you not worried about Suamataia? When will we learn to change about dealing with speedy pass rushers you talked about? Thanks for the answer. Sure, Girk, no problem. And Dan, I don't want to seem too simplistic about it. Why are you not worried about Suamataia?
Because he's a rookie. And coming out, he had a lot of upside, but it was upside. Like he wasn't again, we're coming out of BYU. You're drafting this guy to, one, fit your offense, which he ran a lot of the same concepts at BYU. They run a lot of zone, but they add more gap and power scheme into their run game the last couple of years. So he already had that under his belt. And you're drafting him because he's 20 years old. I think he's 21, and you're going to develop him. This was a process. The reason that everyone, again, is expecting greatness is because he won the starting role out of camp when Wanya Morris clearly isn't the left tackle. So he won it by default. You know, he was injured as well. He did earn it, in my opinion, but Wanya Morris was also injured. But there was always going to be growing pains. And you can't just assume that every time that he takes the field, he's going to make those same mistakes. And like I said, when we're in December and January, if we're seeing the exact same mistakes and nothing is happening, okay, we will start to get concerned. And what he needs to learn about the speed rushers is keeping his honestly, he might need to take more vertical reps, not 45s, vertical. Keep your shoulders square. Okay. For everyone that doesn't know, the difference between a 45 and a vertical is where you have a landmark at 45 degrees from your stance. That's where you're trying to get to for a 45-degree angle. For a vertical pass set, you are dropping straight back, 100% back. That will force him to keep his shoulders square and meet the pass rusher at his apex. It's more difficult, but he can do it. I don't think they're going to have him do it, but if he ever wanted to give Mitchell Schwartz a call, go ahead and do it because he was fantastic at vertical setting.
Yeah, let's get after it. The problem is it opens you up to inside counters as well, which he does struggle with. It's going to be a process, you guys. But I will put it this way. He is a better athlete now than Eric Fisher was when he was drafted.
Correct.
62 places ahead of where Kingsley was.
Yeah.
So in terms of the investment, it's still going to take development time, but it's a better value now than Fish was. And Fish turned out to be a very good player. Yeah. So I do think there's plenty of room for him to grow. This one's for the D and Butker. Cheers to you, Javi. Absolutely. You got to come in clutch when you can come in clutch. Sorry, y'all. Yep. Right now, I think it's Saints versus Chiefs. Okay. That's not a bad idea.
I'm gonna wait and see on the Chiefs. All right. I'm gonna wait and see on the Saints. Like I'm gonna wait and see on the Saints. I'm not sure. I think they might be fake. I'm not sure. I can't tell what's going on.
Could be. I mean, they haven't even used Taysom yet. So, I mean, they're still upset.
That's true.
Just like Trump, the Chiefs are hard to kill. Honestly, who's going to stop us from going 20-0? Honestly, at this rate, just about anybody, because they keep keeping it to like 1 or 2 points until the last second. Yeah. Oh, I just hope, honestly, for me, the next couple of weeks, I want to see him take on the Chargers and take that full frontal on and survive it. So that's what I'm looking for, Tyler. Like, take the physicality that the Chargers are going to bring and make the most of it. And that, I think, will go a long way towards helping Sua, helping the offensive line, the coordination, the whole 9 yards, and confidence as well. Yeah. We're going to end here on Ruthless. Thank you, everyone who subscribed, everyone who's joined the memberships tonight, and all of our contributors. We appreciate you very much. But I'm scared of Myles Garrett matchup and Max Crosby if they're not going to chip. So tell me what your plan is for those guys.
You're going to have to do what Andy Reid did to Nick Bosa 2 years ago in 2022, and we're going to run at him. We're going to run a bunch of jet sweeps at him. We're going to make them think. We're not going to let them just tee off, because that's another thing they didn't do with Trey Hendrickson today. They didn't run jet sweeps at him at all. They didn't do anything that made him think. He just teed off all game and all second half, and it was easy. You got to game plan a little bit better sometimes for those better guys. Andy Reid, again, Trey Hendrickson is very, very, very good. Let's not undersell this, but he is a speed guy off the edge that will win with counters when he beats you, when he has you turning. But Nick Bosa, Max Crosby and Garrett, they're speed to power, they're physical, they're athletic. They can do all of those things. So he's going to have a more advanced game plan for them.
And luckily, Garrett isn't until like mid-December.
Yeah.
So you got a ways there. Obviously, you're going to see Max before then. You see Max, Thanksgiving week? No, the week after. No, I lied. A couple of days before Halloween is when that is.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to see Max earlier. Yeah. But Garrett, at least you're going to have some time. And, Garrett will sneak up on you. Like, we'll spend some time on him that week, I guarantee you. Mr. Green, appreciate you. Pat was bad. We got lucky today. Yep. And it pays to be lucky sometimes. Although I will say this, Pat made some mistakes. Joe made some mistakes. Jamar made some mistakes. You know, everybody right now is going to have issues to pop up. It's just about surviving through them well enough to get W's in this first quarter of the season.
Agreed. There was tons of bad football played all across the NFL. Come out with a win. I think they're feeling pretty good outside of the work they got to do.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to end with Maximo, folks. I'll be over on Locked On Chiefs here shortly. Check out Dan on TDN. And I'll have something up on NFL 33. So if you're not there, make sure you get over there. It's season, so everything's behind the sub wall, but you can get that pretty cheap. And I got a deal for you in this one coming this week.
There we go.
So check it out. Appreciate you. We'll end with Maximo. Let's go, Chiefs. You guys have a great night. We'll catch you tomorrow for the Q&A at 7 Central.